Has this ever happened to you? It was late at night. The city streets were empty, and the cold wind whispered through the air. Alina, a 22-year-old girl living alone in a hostel, was closing the window of her small room. Her routine was simple: college, library, and then her little room. But that night, something felt different. The atmosphere in her room was strange. It was as if the air had stopped moving, and everything was frozen in silence. It was around 2 a.m. when Alina suddenly heard a whisper right next to her ear. A faint breath, almost like someone calling her name, Alina. Her eyes shot open, but there was no one in the room. Her heart pounded in her chest. She thought maybe it was just a dream. But when she reached for the lamp and pressed the button, the light flickered, and went out. The darkness was so dense that only a little moonlight entered through the window. And in that pale glow, she saw a shadow, a silent figure, staring directly at her. But as soon as she looked closely, the shadow disappeared. The next morning, Alina went to college. She told her friend Sana everything. Sana laughed and said,
"Are you crazy? You live alone, that's why you overthink. It's all just in your head."
Alina laughed it off too, but deep inside, the fear refused to leave. That night, Alina tried to fall asleep early. But as soon as she drifted into sleep, she felt her breath stopping. Her chest tightened. She opened her eyes and froze. At the corner of her bed stood a girl, dressed in white. Her face was hidden in the darkness, and her eye, completely empty, hollow. Those eyes didn't blink. They didn't move. They just stared directly at
Alina!
Alina tried to scream, but no sound came out. Her throat was locked. She blinked once, and the figure vanished. The room was empty again. From then on, something happened every night. Sometimes her phone would turn on by itself. Sometimes the book on her desk would fall to the ground. Sometimes the door would creak open and shut slowly, on its own. But the scariest moment came when one night, she opened her diary, and found words written inside.
"I am watching you."
The words weren't in her handwriting. Alina's face turned pale. She shut the diary, locked her door, and sat frozen on her bed. Sweat dripped from her hands. Her heart pounded so loud she could hear it echo inside her head. The next morning, Alina went to the library and began reading books about paranormal activities. She learned that sometimes it's just sleep paralysis. But then she thought, if it's only the mind's trick, how did those words appear in her diary? Her mind was trapped between science and fear. Science told her everything was explainable. But her soul whispered that something supernatural surrounded her. That night, Alina made a decision. She placed her phone on a tripod and set it to record while she slept. For the first 2 hours, everything seemed normal. But then, the camera caught something. A figure appeared. The same girl with hollow eyes. She slowly walked toward Alina's bed, stood right beside her head, and whispered one chilling word. "Leave." The camera recorded everything, but Alina was asleep. The next morning, when she watched the video, her blood froze. At the end of the recording, she saw herself, suddenly sitting up, staring directly into the camera. And her eyes looked completely hollow. As if she had become a part of that girl. The following morning, Sana visited Alina's room. She found Alina writing something in her diary. Sana chuckled and said, "Writing your horror stories again?" Alina closed the diary, smiled faintly, and replied, "No, I just observe now." The diary lay open, and inside were the chilling words. "Now I am watching you."
"Now I am watching you."
Sanna's face went pale. She turned to look at Alina. And in that moment, Alina's eyes were completely hollow.